Let us now take a look at some of the advanced options that are really helpful for developers and also for people who would like to do auditing and security folks. Basically, the properties section is a one-stop shop for administrators, developers, and the security enthusiasts. Now you see lots of boxes here. So if you go ahead and start with the first box, which is versioning, will help you keep track of multiple versions of the same file. So let's say you're uploading a file called as index.html, and after a couple of days you upload that file again because you modified the file and you would like to have the latest changes to be reflected on your web application. Now, how many files are there inside the bucket? If you enable your versioning, you will have multiple versions of it. You will have the previous version as well, so that you can roll back to the previous change just in case there are any problems with the new content, right? This really helps us preserve any existing object version. So you can roll back to the previous version. Now, in this case, I've got this file called as Azure map.png. And if I click on it, the latest version is just that file. If I upload multiple files, I will have the option to choose between those multiple entries. Thereby, I can switch between multiple versions. Okay. So that's what versioning is about. Very important for developers who constantly change information on the bucket. All right. Server access logging. There will be times when you would need to know who's accessing your web application. It's important to have some kind of a logging to trace back who's connecting to your bucket, who's modifying the changes. So I'm going to go and enable logging and select my bucket. And next in the target prefix, I can say, hey, only check for HTML files or something like that. Yeah, it's not plus, but it's .html. So I can just say log for all the HTML files. So thereby I will be able to track down any changes on those particular files that I have mentioned here. Okay. The next option is again very important for the developers. Static website hosting. So if you would like to host some kind of a static content inside the bucket, then you would enable this radio button which says use this bucket to host a website. And then my main website content will be written here. So anybody who tries to navigate to this particular URL will be navigated to the index.html file inside my bucket. Thereby you're just making your bucket as a hosting place, right? You can also redirect all the queries to a different location. Let's say anybody who tries to go to this URL will be redirected to, let's say, www.yourcompanydomain.com, right? So that was about static website hosting. Object level logging is detail logging as opposed to server access logs. Object level logging will give you details about all the read requests and all the write requests that are occurring inside your S3 bucket. And all of these logs will then go inside a trail event called as CloudTrail. Like I mentioned in the previous lesson, CloudTrail is a separate auditing service. So if you click on services, scroll down under management and governance, you will find CloudTrail here. So all those events of read and write right here will be going to the CloudTrail for audits. So the auditors or the finance guys or the external people may have access to CloudTrail to identify what's going on in your production bucket or your dev bucket. So object level logging is for auditing. It is very important that you go ahead and apply encryption. How do you ensure that your bucket is encrypted? By just going to the default encryption and then setting and selecting one of these. By default, as you see, your bucket is not encrypted, but you have the options to choose between AES 256, which means that the keys to encrypt the bucket will be with Amazon. So hence the name Amazon S3 managed keys. The keys to encrypt the content of the bucket will be managed by Amazon. And if you're not happy with that, or if your compliance team does not agree with it, you can choose to keep the keys with yourself. So you can say, all right, I will use the default encryption option, but then I want to manage my own keys. I don't want to give Amazon any kind of permissions to manage my keys. So I will leave that to me and my team to have that keys managed. When I say manage, it is creation of keys, deletion of keys, rotation of keys, etc. So you will have more responsibility as far as key management is concerned. Amazon has a separate service called as KMS, which is called as a key management system or a key management service, where you can go ahead and keep your keys safely and do all the management related to creation, deletion, rotation, etc. All right. So these are the three options we have. I'll click on none at this time, click on cancel, and then I'll go ahead and summarize these options where you will have the versioning, so you can roll back to a previous version, server access login, so you see the details about who's accessing the content, static website hosting to host your web application inside the S3 bucket, and object level logging so that you can have audit team look at the read and write requests into the S3 bucket, and then the default encryption to improve the confidentiality of your data using either Amazon managed KMS service or using the keys in your own KMS. All right, that's all about this, folks. Let's go ahead and connect in the next lesson. Thanks for watching.